Today's podcast is brought to you by Best at Sea Tours and by Sheets.com, who remind you that better sleep is one sheet away.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the podcast. My name is Tom Drake, and during this podcast, I was given the opportunity, the honor to speak to a gentleman named Jack Waksul, who is 101 years old. He'll be 102 in September. He is a Holocaust survivor, and during this podcast, he relates the heart-wrenching stories of his life as a young boy in Poland that was torn apart by the invasion of the Germans and the Nazis, and what happened to his family and how he ended up in the United States, and is a big success story from where his life was, from a very dark place, to where he is now at the age of 101. Please enjoy the podcast, but also listen to it, and remember, this hasn't ended. This anti-Semitism still exists today. And we'll get right to it because we had a kind of an abrupt opening. This will begin with Jack Waksul announcing who he is and how old he is.
Jack Waksul. I am 91 year old. 100 year old.
Yes, you are.
I went through the Holocaust in Poland.
I want to ask you about that. You were a young boy growing up in Poland. What was your life like before Germany, before the Nazis invaded your country?
Before the Nazis, I was 13 years old. I went to the 5th grade school in Poland. And I got along with the Polish people. This time was not so bad. When it started up in 1937, it was anti-Semitism started growing because Hitler started saying he's going to take over Poland. And they thought the Polish people, Jewish people are involved in it to take it away, the Polish government. And it was untrue.
So that was the basis then, what we would call disinformation now. They were saying that it was Germany invading Poland was because the Jewish people were behind it.
Yes.
Wow.
The Jews always are behind anything, to do something like this, which the Jewish people didn't have nothing to do with it.
Wow.
They went to the military when they become 18 year old or 19 year old. They took him to the military and every place else. And it was never, but the only thing that started up against the Jews, it was they started burning up Jewish stores. They started not to let the people go to the synagogue. They broke the windows in the synagogue. They did so much damage to starting the Jewish people. In 38, gross, it was even worse in 38. And that's how it was going on. And when Hitler took over September, pretty close by the 15th of September, since I remember exactly, and when Hitler started, it took him just 3 days. He was in our city. And when he come around in our city, they started right away with the Jewish people. And they took the Jewish kids in just for hostages, because Warsaw still didn't fall. And they took from our city, pretty close, over 50 people. And I was involved in it when I was young. And they took us, they put us in where the Polish military used to be in a barrack. And they said, if this Warsaw is not going to fall between 8 hours, we're going to kill you. Warsaw fell They let us loose. We took it away at 12 kilometers from our city. And we have to go back the 12 kilometer home. And that's how it started up. Daily basis. We have to go, stay in the morning, 7 o'clock, and starting to go to clean every place where they told us to clean. We did it.
At that time,
and it's already starting cold weather, and that's how life was starting to go on.
Were you separated from your parents? Were you separated from your parents at that time?
No, I was with my parents.
Okay.
This time was with the parents. Everything just to go to war. That's what the Germans started. They took girls, they took boys, they took fathers, they took mothers. Wherever they could, they took them to work.
When you look at it now, I can't imagine. No one can imagine. And we live in the United States where young people today, they don't want to imagine. There are some that deny it even happened. And yet we hear this word Nazi used on a regular basis in the United States where we both live. When that happens, when you hear that, what is your reaction to just throwing that word?
They don't know, but they call some people here Nazis. They don't know what the meaning is Nazis.
Right.
They don't. Some of them, they don't want to even listen to me.
Yeah.
They said that never happened, like you say. And I tried to go to schools, and the kids in school asking me questions, and I can see how kids are interested to find out. And I said, how long I lived, since the 60s, I am going to school all the time and talk to 17-year-old kids. And I'm so happy in my life that I try to tell them, and they listen, and they wanted to know what was going on. Which one doesn't want to know? They don't even care. They said that never happened. Like you got governments in the Arab governments, some other governments said that never happened. And they knew it happened. They knew it. And they can see it. And I said, we can take you fast and show you the ovens are still there where they branded people. All the time they took out people and they starting to do this to them.
Please, if this is too much, please don't go there. But I'm reading.
No, it's too much.
But
I always.
Go ahead.
Anything you wanted, I tell you.
Well, you lost your entire family. I'm reading you lost your father, your mother, a brother, and 2 sisters, correct?
Yes, I got my mother, I got a father, and I got one brother older, one sister older, one sister younger, and I was between them.
And
yes,
and
nobody survived from my parents. Nobody, my brother, everybody got killed.
And you were able to escape from the camp more than once?
Believe me, I was 3 times kneeling down to be killed. One time, it was in 1941 in November, when the Russians started to go ahead and to get advantage. They was afraid they're not going to be able to take it out before, so they took it out. We was in November the 41. And they liquidate. We was over 1,600 people, girls, boys, mother. This time, I still had got my father. I was 16 years old, and they started to go ahead, and they're gonna shoot people. We were standing the whole time. They took us out from the box, staying in the line for 4 o'clock in the evening, November, like I would say right now. And they said, we took out people. And they took out my father, that he was the second in the line. Something come to me, and he said, I'm going to ask the Germans, can I go for my father? And I asked him, I wanted to go for this guy.
Yeah.
And he picked me up on my collar like this with his arm, pulled me out, and pushed my father back. And later he said to me, I was the second in the line. He said to me, Kalman, you have to tell me how many people I'm going to give it to you. He was giving to me pretty close, over 47 people, something like this.
Was this
I'm going to give you a hand.
Was this a German soldier or
the German officer? It's an SS.
Yeah.
That's the SS. And that is people from the Ukraine people worked, the Polish people worked with the Germans. And that's how they can do it. That's what they did.
Yeah.
They took the Polish people to help them, the Ukraine people. The Ukraine people was in each camp, like the SS. You cannot believe it. If you let me finish you, it was in 41 when they took me and they took the 50 people. We walked to the grave. The grave was pretty close to 10 feet long, 8 feet deep, deep over 5 feet. When we come to the grave, they told us to kneel down. We kneel down, and it was a lot of SS with the rifles ready. And they asked them officer, he was on my side and the left-hand side. And he said, when I'm going to take the pistol out, I'm going to show you how to do it. And when he said that, I said to the first guy, let's go ahead and fight them. And the guy said, good, we're going to do it. And when he tried to go for the pistol, before the Germans, they asked him, can we start shooting? No, I'm going to show you how. When he tried to go for the pistol, we got up, we didn't let him take out the pistol, and we was fighting him, and we fell in the grave. All the three of us, with the SS officer, and he started to holler to the soldiers, to the other SS, don't shoot, because if they would shoot, they would kill him too. So something happened. I ran away. I jumped over on the other side after we fell in the grave. I ran out. I ran into the forest. And I was in the forest more than a month time. I have to go ahead, steal food, and sleep in the. It's already starting cold weather.
Mm-hmm.
That's how life was going on for me. For me, it was in 41.
But then
I was taken away from my parents,
right.
and the next day, they killed over 600 people, and my father was involved in it, and they killed my father the next day. And later, the rest of them, they took it away to another ghetto or to another place. My mother, they took away my Danek, right away.
Yeah.
And that's with the two daughters. And that's how that's what you hear the next time. After one time, I said, I cannot be in the forest. I have to go into another camp. And that's what I did. From the forest, I went into another camp, and it was already in 42. After 42, I was working in an airfield, but they bombed the Russians. We did everything they wanted. And it happened pretty close in the middle of May or starting June in 1942. It was rumors that they're going to liquidate this camp too. And this camp was just over 800 people. And that's what we was leading. And they took us out in May, pretty close to the end of May, on buses. This time they didn't shoot. They took us, all the people, on trucks to take us to a place where to do ammunition. It was the military, the Polish military that they got. That's what we did. We made bullets for them to kill us and to kill anybody else. And we was working in ammunition plant. And that I was put in to unload coal. And I unload coal pretty close to the end of 44. That was maybe in April of 84. They start talking about it. They're going to liquidate us. In this camp, we was over 6,000 people, Jewish, all of them. I never got any more. I never saw any more my father, my mother. And I decided, I talked to some other kids, would you like to go to, I'm not going to go to Auschwitz because it was rumors they're going to take us to Auschwitz. In Auschwitz, is if you come in, they take so many in to they bring you up alive.
Mm-hmm.
It was ovens over there, and that's what I did. I took 15 to 16 people, run out in end of April to the forest, and soon we went out. I have to cut wires, barbed wires, and I got a cutter where we was working. We got cutters and everything else, and I stole a cutter, and I cut the wires, and we went out, and right away, after the plant, the ammunition plant, is the railroad was going.
Mm-hmm.
and we crossed over the railroad. As soon as we crossed over the railroad, they shot on us, and they killed one guy right away. And the rest of them, we ran away, and we lost in pretty close. When we was liberated in 1945, we got 6 people from 15 because you need to go steal food in some Poles called up. The Germans, they staying behind in this with a jeep, with machine guns all the time. All the time we lost somebody. And that's how life was going on.
So
if anything you wanted to know, ask me, I tell you everything.
you left. I want to revisit that. You left and you brought 15 people with you. You knew the day was coming when you would be transported to Auschwitz. So rather than face that, obviously, now back up just slightly. When you were working, these were slave camps, right? You weren't in barracks.
That was slave camps.
Yeah, there was no three men. Yeah.
When you said talking about it, they took us and it was slave camps, but it was ammunition plant.
Right.
We did for them ammunition. Nobody else. It was over 6,000 people. We worked 24 hours daily.
Mm-hmm.
That's how they did it with us. We have to stand up 6 o'clock in the morning, go to work, coming back. Sometimes we come back, sometimes we stay 24 hours in work. But if they need us, they didn't let us go home. And that's how life was going on the daily basis.
So you were 20 years old now, or 21 when you were liberated, and
when I was liberated, I was 20 years old. Yeah.
And your future was empty, and so you made your way eventually to the United States, where you became very successful. When
I come to the United States, I was very successful. They sent me to Ohio. When I come, they sent me to Dayton, Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
In Dayton, Ohio, in the beginning when I arrived, it was 1950, November. They put it close to November.
Wow.
The United States opened up that the Jewish people from Germany, after the liberation, we was in Germany over 5 years. We couldn't go no place. No country wants us. And finally, the United States opened up. Some other countries opened up. They took out some people, and I come to the United States. Yes.
And this seems so almost ridiculous to ask, but you went into the scrap industry, which Steve and I have talked about, our mutual friend, about. They were the first recyclers. How did that happen?
I tell you, that's exactly. When I did it, I went to a scrapyard in Dayton and start working at a scrapyard.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked at it. People bringing in bodies, going to gas stations, picking up mufflers from gas stations.
Mm-hmm.
And I said to another guy, which I know, but I was working over there, it's a good idea. Maybe we could get a truck, a 1.5-ton truck, and go and do it and pick it up by gas stations, cleaning them up. Years back, they looking for us.
Mm-hmm.
We should clean up more flesh in cars, clean up bodies and everything. In what we did very good in this. And later I start to go around to one state to the next one, buying material, buying scrap from people, around, and later selling to a big scrapyard. And we was doing pretty good. I was with somebody else, and we did a good thing. We made a good living. And it has happened, something happened in Dayton that somebody wants to sell a scrapyard. And I said it would be, I talked to, I got already married, and I got my wife, which she was in Auschwitz.
Yeah.
She was liberated from Auschwitz. And later, they took her from Auschwitz away to Germany. And she was liberated, and she was alive when she come back. Then because she was born in the same city where I was.
And that was
3 years older than.
I'm reading that. That was in Yeblinsk in Poland?
Yeblinsk.
Yeblinsk?
Yes. You're right.
Yeah.
That is my city. I was born between Warsaw and Radom.
And back all the way up, you're 10 years old, you're 8 years old, living in Yeblinsk, if I say that correctly. Back then, you weren't living in riches, but you were living in freedom. When did it stop? When did you?
We was in the beginning. I was playing soccer with Polish kids.
Yeah.
And it was good. And everything was, our neighbors was Polish in this. But all of a sudden, when Hitler started to say to Poland, we're going to take over, then they start with the Jewish people in this. And never give it up. And always something, because I don't understand it was this time, because Polish people are 99% in Poland Catholics.
Right.
Yeah. It was just unbelievable in life that the Pope never come up and said to the Polish people, you don't have to kill him. You don't have to do nothing. Just let him live.
Yeah, that could be a whole separate conversation, because it still exists today. That we talked about this when I met you recently. That I am born and raised Catholic, and I didn't really experience anti-Semitism or even prejudice in the little town that I grew up with in Morris Plains, New Jersey. But when I look at where it's gone now, in terms of anti-Semitic everything and hate crimes, and the mayor of New York who's blatantly anti.
You said it.
How can that be? How can that be?
How can it be? That's what I said when I talked to students, and I said, look at what's going on. You cannot just not to forget it,
yeah,
and to see. And I go to schools out, mostly every week to another school or this. And I'm so happy that the kids want to listen in this. Something I do good before I'm going to die in my life.
I don't. Now, when you speak to these young people, and you do have some that roll their eyes, are the parents aware that this is not history you can erase? This isn't something you can ever forget. And God love you. You're going to be 82. You're going to be 102 in September. Am I correct, sir?
But yeah,
102. Yeah. So you lived it. This isn't looking at a national public television show or reading a book. This is talking to someone who was threatened multiple times to be killed, who's lost your parents. I mean, I find it stunning that this message is ignored by voters who just don't seem to understand it. And I can't speak except that I've been to Israel and I've stood at the Golan Heights.
That's what when I talk to a kid about closing up, I said, I am just a messenger. And believe me, I said, every word I said is the truth. I have to say, if they kill people, the Germans make you to stay in Russia. What they did when they liquidate ghettos, in the beginning they make ghettos. The ghetto means you take all Jewish people on in one spot, give them so many houses, left. Sometimes 3 families have to live in a house. Intimate kids in Poland, and it was no food. They give you one time of soup to eat, and that's how life was going on. And that's what I tried to tell the kids.
When this was...
You have to understand, and if you understand, and you tell the parents what that was, that Jack Waksul come into you and tell you what was going on in the wartime, what the Germans did. And I would be so proud that you should never forget, and we should never let it happen again. That's what I try to tell them.
Well, and I, for one, I sit amazed at first of all, at your longevity, with all that you went through in your life, and you haven't forgotten, you dedicate your life now to making people remember. You can't just close your eyes and your ears, because, and again, I'm going to reference what I read and what I see and what is happening, and people that are Jewish who vote for somebody who hates Israel. How do you do that?
They're mentally sick.
Yeah, how do you do that?
People.
I don't.
People got rich parents. The kids never work for a living.
Yeah.
And they don't want to even listen to you.
Yeah. Yeah. Even though you've lived it like no one. And your story, as I look at the notes I have in front of me, what you lived. Many people probably would never achieve what you've achieved. You came to the United States. When you finally came here, you were at that point. Were you 30 yet, or you're in your late 20s when you arrived in the United States?
When I come to the United States, I was not. When I come to the United States, was pretty close to 16-year-old.
No,
after 16, 18-year-old.
When you came to okay.
Not when I come to the United States.
No.
That's when I come to Germany.
Right.
But when they took us in, where we went in where the American was in Bavaria, in Munich, down there, and that's how we was. And the union give us out some food when we got over there. And we have to, sometimes you have to sleep. In the beginning when we came to Germany, we were sleeping in barracks. It was the same, but that was better Nobody shoot us.
Yeah.
Nobody did that.
Yeah, there's nothing funny about that, but you're right. The food might have been not much better, and the accommodations weren't much better, but no one was.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no one's trying to kill you. Now, when you came to the United States, were you sponsored by a family to come to the United States, or you just came over?
It was done, yes, sponsored by people or sponsored. That's what they call it, the joint, the UJA, the Jewish Community Council down there. That's how they did it. They showed the government that we're not going to tell into the United States government support.
And
we're going to work.
And not to make this simplify this or even make it seem so almost ridiculous, but the idea that you're in the United States now, you're a young man and you have a 1.5 ton truck and you're picking up muffler parts, that was a good life compared to what you lived, where you came from.
No question about it.
Yeah, I mean,
when I come to the United States, if you would see me coming down, I lay down and kiss the ground.
Yeah. And
it's so much in my life.
And
the beginning.
Yeah.
In the beginning, I didn't know it in my life. How in the world that I am going to think in this in my life that I don't have a father, not a mother, that it was no sisters, which we were such a close family, and did everything together. I played soccer with Polish people, with Polish kids.
Yeah.
We were on bikes. We did so much. I didn't know it, that kids can go after you.
Well, we talked about that too when I was with you. Sometimes, as you know, and I can't. I've lived such a normal life, sir, that it's hard for me to even offer any comment. But we know that hate is taught when you're young. We know that.
Exactly.
We know that.
It's so much.
Yeah.
That's what I said to people. We don't have to hate each other. This world is so big. If they wouldn't try with Jesus or with other organizations, Jewish things, that is the worst thing that people get involved in it and being involved. Religious thing can bring death to people.
And this is the country we live in now. As a kid, and these stories are so ridiculous compared to your life, but I started selling newspaper subscriptions when I was 14, and it goes on and on and on. And that is my generation, just a little bit below your generation. But now, if you told somebody they had to take a truck and go pick up muffler parts, and they would want $25 or $30 an hour to even think about it.
You said it. When you talk about a paper, that's what my kids did. That's what I learned my kids.
Yeah. So
that's exactly what I said to my kids. Nobody will give you nothing. You have to work for a living in life and have the best education in life.
And
that's the most important thing.
And your children were born and raised and educated in the United States, correct?
Yes, sir.
So
they both, my two sons, they're both doctors.
Wow. How old are they?
The oldest one is 70. The other one is close to 70. They are apart.
Yeah,
2 years apart.
There's nothing. There's nothing to laugh about there except when you talk to somebody and their children are 70. It's like, God love you, sir. Man, wonderful. We could do a podcast, and I don't want to cheapen what we talked about. I think the message was very clear, and I believe in this message. People that listen to my other podcasts know this. I don't do well with criticism of Israel when they're defending their country, unless you've stood there and understand what Israel lives every day of their existence. It's still out there. People still want it exterminated. I don't want to hear it. I just don't. And your life is such I don't know what word to use. It's just amazing. And what we could do a separate podcast on what kind of food you've enjoyed for 101 years, because that's pretty good. I mean,
yeah. in what you say, it is people, they can do it so much good. The people, what had happened 2 years ago, starting in the universities against the Jewish people, they kill the Arabs.
Yep.
They don't kill, they kill them.
Yep.
They come in and they made another Holocaust. They made 1,200 people, kids, women, in this, and kill them, and take them out of death, with them away, and hide them in death. And that is to show the world, and the world says this time.
And
it didn't happen. Israel makes it up.
Yeah, I don't.
And that's so disgusting in life, what people try to think about it.
Then
I would think if we would have Israel before the war started, we wouldn't have 6 million be killed.
No.
The United States could do a lot of things. They could bomb the railroads in Poland. They could do a lot of. They was 5 minutes away from bombing Germany, and they didn't permit them to go into bomb the railroads and not to let the Germans killing daily basis, bringing them to Auschwitz, to Bergen-Belsen, to Majdanek, to all of the camps, what they can destroy the people and burn them up.
Well, I, for one, and my vote, but whatever, I can't find the right words, Mr. Waksul, but, I hope the world opens up their eyes and really does a little homework and realizes the situation. When they take over Columbia University and they lock out the Jewish students, that is a signal, a red flag that this has to stop. It just can't go on.
You're so right. That's what I said.
No.
When I go to the kids and talk about it, I said, think about it. Think about it, what they wanted to do it. They wanted to start and do it, that the students shouldn't be able to be educated, the Jewish students, or something like that.
You're right. You're right.
Why? What's the reason?
Well, we know.
have to give a reason. The Jews are guilty because Israel exists. It doesn't make no sense.
No, and the reality is there is a religion that feels that you don't have the right to have your own religion, and that makes it really difficult to accept when they end up in power, when they end up in a place where they can ignore what's going on, which is what we watched that in New York City. We watched them ignore it. I cannot thank you enough for all of what you told me today, and I'm anxious to get this published and get the word out there. I have many friends that were asking me, when are you going to talk to Mr. Waksul? I said, we're working it out. They happen to be Jewish friends, and they want to hear this, and they need to hear it. They need their children to hear it. They need, I'll tell you, their grandchildren to hear it.
It was 2 weeks ago. a congressman, my daughter-in-law, they live in Jupiter, in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And the congressman asked, I hear that Jack is your relationship. Can you bring him in? I want to talk to him. And the congressman, when I come in, and he introduced himself, and he said to me, would you do me a favor? First, right away, would you bench me? Benching means that I put my hand on his head and I give him a thing that God should give him anything what he deserved in his life.
Wow.
That's what I did.
Wow.
Later, some people called me up. They saw it. They thought he is not Jewish. But that doesn't make no difference. It's the same thing.
Well,
It's one God. That's all what it is.
After what the world,
and we should stay together.
Well,
if people would want to be good to each other, people could help so much. They could do so much for the world. That's what I got 2 kids, and they are in cancer research.
Wow.
They just in one immunology, in ecology.
Mm-hmm.
And they are good, and they are helping people. And that's what my heart is just praying and thank God that he pushed them in and he told them to guide them. And that's what I did. I did my best thing in my life with my kids that they can help people.
After
this is my life.
After what happened to you, your heart could have been very dark, but it's not. Your heart is the opposite.
People. My heart to help people.
Yeah.
I would go in the middle of the night in the help, even by my age, I would do it.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you again, and I'll thank you on behalf of all the people that get to listen to it, and I am going to encourage...
Anytime when you need more something, or something to clear up, I'm here. Okay. You got my number.
Okay.
Anytime you can call me in the middle of the night.
Well, I will tell you, Mr. Waksul, our mutual friend Steve loves you, and so does Sherry, and they talk about you all the time. He's always talking about you, and you're one of his all-time favorite people, and it's easy in talking to you and after meeting you to understand why. You've lived a great life. You still continue to live a great life, and may God bless you, and I want to talk to you when you're 102.
Thank you so much.
All right, sir. You have a great afternoon. Thank you so much.
I am here anytime. When you need me, don't hesitate.
All right. Really, I really do appreciate it. It was spectacular. You have a great... Well, I shouldn't say that word. It was so emotional, and it's important everybody hear what you have to say and have their children listen.
You know, Netanyahu was here.
I know.
I didn't meet him. He was in our neighborhood.
Yeah.
And something, I went out on the street. And they said, you know, Netanyahu is going to come 2 days ago from now to the synagogue and buy them.
Yeah.
You know, the tone thing.
Yeah.
And I said, Netanyahu, I have to see him. And what I did, I went into synagogue. They said, it's impossible. I said, nothing is impossible. For me, what I went through my life, that was impossible.
Yeah.
But that is not impossible. And it happened that before they register you, they say you have to be before 11 o'clock the next day on Thursday. And I went in, and it was, but not far away is a place, it's a post office place, and it's an empty lot. And they use the empty lot to register people. And I went in, I registered myself. And I said, I am over 90 years old already. And I said, I would like to see Netanyahu. We don't know what we can do, but we're going to sit you in the front. And it happened when we sat down, he come around, and I said, and he was so protected, because what was going on in the world, they have to protect him. And I still saying, and he showed up, and I said to some officers over there, was standing, would you do me a favor? Ask me what? Would you go up to him and tell him, I'm Jack Waksul. I'm a survivor. I want him to see me. And soon he went up to him. He got up. He said, Jack, come on up.
How about that?
Yeah. And I went up to him, and that was just, maybe it was over 100 people just this time. And I got up to him, and we talk about it, and I give him courage. I said, no matter what, people will always be against you, no matter what. You're going to have it this way. You have to stay in this and help Israel. That's the only thing what I wanted from you. And he said to me, I promise you, wherever I'm going to do it, I'm going to start doing my best. And later, when he come around to say the speech, it was pretty close to 900 people. They couldn't sit anymore. And soon he come up on the stage, and he come up and said, Jack Waksul, stand up. I want all people should see you. And I said to him, Netanyahu, thank you very much, Prime Minister, and I appreciate so much. And that's what happened. And I was so happy in my life to see him.
I am sure that you don't want to be considered, the word it would be a symbol, but the reality is that you are alive and you are a reason never to forget. And hopefully people realize that as we go through these really ridiculous times in our own country now, and where people have forgotten, and I hope they don't. I hope they listen to you, and I hope they remember.
What I said to the people, we cannot forget 1.5 million little kids.
Yeah.
They didn't know life. They took away the life. When they liquidated the ghettos, they took the mothers and the little kids, threw them in the grave. They didn't even use a bullet.
Yeah.
They used sand over them alive.
Yeah,
and you have to stay and watch it.
Yeah.
And it's just, and it never goes away from you. Since I was liberated, I never got a night's sleep. It shouldn't come into my mind again killing. That's all.
Well, I don't have the power to say thank you for everybody, but I can say thank you for me. And I know how much this takes out of you, and I appreciate you doing this. And I will now make sure that this gets listened to by everybody that I know and everybody that listens to my podcast, and they should have their children and listen to it. People should understand when you throw it around.
Thank you so much. for listening to me.
You're welcome. Thank you, sir.
Anytime.
You have a great afternoon. Well, it sounds so stupid after I'll talk.
Never hesitate for any time that you need.
Okay. Thank you. And I'll talk to you when you're 102.
Have a wonderful.
You too.
Okay.
All the best. Thanks.
Yeah. Adieu.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Jack. Bye-bye.
Bye.